plan to get there. I've written a few books, and some of the stories probably made you laugh, while others made you cry. I want this book to make you think. In the pages that follow, I hope you'll figure out where your purposes lie and then chart a course to get there. When I was out of college and living alone, I had a closet in my house where I would throw the things that didn't have a specific place to go. Naturally, this closet quickly became a huge, disorganized, impenetrable pile of debris. Everything in there was evidently important enough to acquire at some point, and even valuable enough to keep. Yet none of these things remained accessible to me anymore because there was no order to them. As a result, a whole lot of items with individual value were collectively worthless because I couldn't get at them. Our lives are not much different. We gather experiences, emotions, knowledge, and self-awareness. We amass pains, triumphs, disappointments, and wisdom. Without some shelves to put them on, though, we can't access these things or what they've taught us to help us move forward. These experiences and aha moments are the stuff you'll need to access as you figure out what your next moves are going to be in the direction of your ambitions. Put aside the self-help talk. What you need is a good set of shelving to access what you've already experienced and a willingness to reflect on what you find there. It took 220 years after the pencil was invented for somebody to invent the eraser. I'm glad they did because I've erased in my life much more than I've kept. We all get to do this. We take what we've written about ourselves, what we truly believe God thinks of us, and decide what to keep and what to erase. We're not the only author of our lives either. Like the ones who have signed the pages of a high school yearbook, other people who have intersected our journey have written over us too. Some of what they said is true and beautiful and lasting. Other things, not so much. Never change was written in my yearbook by at least a dozen people. It's the worst advice I've ever received. We're supposed to change constantly into kinder, humbler, more faithful versions of our old selves. This change and growth happens when we sort out the truth from the lies in our lives. Here's some great news. The next version of you is the one who will pursue the ambitions all the previous versions were unable to accomplish. Our understanding of who we are and how God sees us is worth all the time and energy we'll put into the task. The trick is figuring out what is true after all the distractions, misstatements, and misunderstandings have been eliminated from our lives. Here's what makes it worth it. When we sort through all the words written by ourselves and others, and when we discard what isn't true or doesn't matter anymore, we'll find the clarity we need to choose the desires worth pursuing. What's left over will be your truest, most beautiful, and lasting ambitions. That's what this book is all about. My faith has shaped my worldview and plays a big part in my ambitions. I decided to make my first and last ambition to love God and the people I come across without an agenda. I certainly haven't arrived, but I'm somewhere along the way of getting there. You are too. My relationships play a big role too. Some people are easy to connect with. If you want to achieve great things, find a couple of these people to do life with. Also, find a couple difficult people to engage with love. Don't make them projects, make them friends. This is where you'll grow. If you do these things, I promise you will lead a purposeful and meaningful life. Sure, it will be complicated at times, and you'll mess it up more than once, but your purpose will never become clearer. I know this because if you go deep with a few people and stay close to those who rub you the wrong way, you will have accomplished the ambitions Jesus said were always worth the effort. While no efforts of yours or mine will be more important than loving God and the people around us, our ambitions can be much broader, more expansive, and more varied than this. I want to talk about those things too. Achieving your ambitions isn't going to come easy, and it won't be cheap. Don't bail out. Will you have setbacks along the way? Of course you will. The reason is simple. You are you, and life is life. Stay the course. We've brought leaders together in countries riddled with conflict only to have our meetings raided. I've been detained, held in jail, even kicked out of a country for freeing children held in brothels. We've started schools in war zones that failed completely, and other schools that shouldn't have worked, but did. Don't be put off by the difficulties you'll face. Remember the reason why you started. Keep your ambitions and your life's purpose in mind. Why?